guys, so because it's coming up to Valentine's, I thought I would make a few Valentine's themed snacks for you and your friends or you and your partner. Everything's going to be kind of pinky purple, so I'm going to be making pink meringues, and I'm also going to be making a berry milkshake, which can be quite good seeing as it is summer. So we're going to be starting with the meringues. So what you're going to need is you're going to need an electric beater, a little bowl to separate your egg whites, and also some sugar, eggs, and some red food dye because we're going to be making them pink. Best thing to start with is separating your eggs. So what you want to do is you want to crack one open. You want to crack it in half, but make sure the egg yolk doesn't leak out. So you want to be tossing the egg yolk between each shell, letting the egg white fall into the bowl, and then all you've got left is your egg white and your egg yolk is stuck in there. Then what you want to do is you want to do that with your second egg as well, and you're going to have 2 egg whites. You're going to want to add these to your bowl, and you're going to want to whisk them up. You're going to need to use your electric beater for this, so plug it in. That was a bit loud. You want to beat it so that it can hold a peak rather than it kind of sinking down. So it's going to take a little while to mix. In between mixing, you kind of just want to check and see how far you're going. Mine's not stiff enough just yet, so I've got to keep going with my mixing. Mine's now reaching a stiff peak, obviously, because it's not actually coming off the beaters, so that's when you know it's ready. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add gradually 125 grams of sugar. Using caster sugar is the best way to go just because it binds well and it mixes in properly with the egg whites, so then you get a nice fluffy meringue. So get your scales and measure out the 125 grams of sugar. I've gone slightly over, but that's alright. If you've gone over, obviously just take some out, it's pretty simple. I'm going to be adding 1 tablespoon of sugar when mixing, just because you don't want to chuck it all in, otherwise the egg whites will lose all its air, so adding it gradually means that it is going to keep it light and fluffy. Now that I'm adding my last tablespoon of sugar, what you want to do is you also want to add in the food colouring. So I'm going to be using the Wilton red to create my pink, so I'm only going to add a little bit of red to it. I'm actually just going to get the, what do you call this bit? Oh yeah, handle. I'm going to get the handle of the spoon and dip it in, just because the spoon doesn't actually fit into it properly. So, about that much. I'm just going to kind of take it off, and it will go into the mixture. So mixing in your food colouring and your last bit of sugar, and hopefully it will come to the colour and consistency that you want it to be able to bake. So if you can see into the bowl, I don't know if you can, but I've got a really nice light baby pink as my meringue colour, and that is exactly the colour that I want, so I don't need to add any more food colouring. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear the space and then pop the meringue mixture into a piping bag and then pipe it into little swirls and different shapes for on the baking tray. So get your tray and line it with baking paper, just so that the meringues don't actually stick to the tray, of course. And you're going to want to get one of your piping bags, or you can use one of the snap lock bags, just one of the larger ones, and you can pipe it from there. I'm using the Wilton 12-inch disposable ones. I'm going to be using this tip, which is the Wilton 1M tip. Don't know what it's going to look like. It's kind of more like a starry shape. Let's hope it looks good. So pop the tip down into the bag and then get a pair of scissors, and you want to cut a space for the tip to come out. So cut a little hole and then squeeze your tip down to the end. There we go. Then unfold and create kind of like a well for you to be able to put your meringue mixture in. You're going to want to heat your oven until it's 120 degrees, and then you're going to pop them in for an hour and a half. So just spooning this mixture into the piping bag. So just spooning as much as you can into there before it all rolls down. Pull up the edges of your piping bag. Oh gosh. And squeeze the meringue mixture down to the nozzle. There we go. You want to start piping little meringues. I'm kind of doing them in a swirl. Like that. Just to make them nice and pretty. And if your mixture's holding well, then you don't really need to spread them out as much because they're not going to spread. So make sure that your oven is at 120 degrees, and then you're going to pop them in, as I said before, for an hour and a half because these guys take a little while to cook nicely. So I'm going to pop these in. Sometimes the meringues do sweat. Don't worry about it. It's not going to cause any problems. Just make sure you keep an eye on them. Sometimes they do take a little bit longer than an hour and a half, and sometimes they don't. Once they've finished cooking, we're going to pull them out and we're going to be cooling them on a cooling rack, and we're going to start making our berry smoothie once they are out of the oven. So I've pulled out my meringues from the oven and they are all done, and now we're just cooling down. So in the meantime, I'm going to be making the berry smoothie that I'll be having with my meringue. So instead of using a blender, I'm going to be using the Ninja, which is just a smaller and easier version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop some ice cream berries and milk into here, and I'm going to mix it all up and then pop it into my mason jar here, and I will be topping it off with a bit of whipped cream and a couple of berries as well. So hopefully that will be quite a nice snack to have, especially on a hot summer's day. Hopefully Valentine's Day will be nice and sunny. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in about half a cup of berries into here. Not an actual measurement, but just an estimation of what you think kind of half a cup looks like. Don't know if that's half a cup, that'll do. Then I'm going to get my milk and I'm going to pop in about half a cup of this as well, if not a little bit more. I'm then going to open up my ice cream. I'm using the boysenberry ripple ice cream just to kind of stick to the berry thing. If I can get it open. Got it. Cool. I've just had my ice cream scoop sitting in some hot water, and this is going to make it easier for me to obviously get the ice cream out. And then I'm going to take about 1 and a bit of a scoop. It will go in. There, screw the lid on. Make sure it goes on properly, of course. Then blend it until it's completely combined together. This may take a little bit longer just because there is the frozen berries in there. And it is probably going to be quite loud too. I'm just going to add a little bit of extra milk. Now the milkshake should be combined. I'm just going to pop the lid off with my mason jar. I did add a little bit of warm water to it just to try and melt those berries a little bit, because they were pretty frozen. That seemed to do the trick a bit better. So I'm just going to pour it into here, but kind of spoon it into here because it is still, again, very frozen. But it is completely combined, so it should be alright. So that makes about 1 smoothie. The mason jars are pretty big, so you probably don't want to have too much. I'm just going to shake up my whipped cream. Start putting some cream into here. So now I've got the cream in there. No. So the cream's in there. Then I'm going to get a frozen berry and I'm just going to run it under some warm water to lose all that frost around the edge. I'm going to add it to the top. So I've added the berry and then I'm also going to add a couple of sprinkles to make it just a little bit more colourful. And again, we're sticking to that kind of pinky purpley theme just for Valentine's Day, and I've got my red stripy straw and I'm just going to pop that in the side. Now by this time your meringues should have cooled and you can just pop them in a bowl, and basically you can just serve them up to your friend, have everyone take what they want, or you can do a full-on thing where you put 1 or 2 in a bowl, add some whipped cream and then add a couple of berries just to make it kind of like it's a bit of a dessert. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos from me. I hope we will have another video to you soon, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye!